Hi, Izzy. Thank you for joining me today and taking some time out of your day to catch up with us. So obviously we're all in lockdown at the moment. So how have you been coping with that?
Yeah, hi Rhiannon, thank you. Yeah, lockdown's not been too bad. I think to be honest, it was tougher at the beginning. But now I've kind of got used to the new normal, I guess. It's got a lot easier.
And you've probably had a lot more extra time on your hands being at home all the time. So what have you been able to get done with that? Have you taken up baking or anything like that?
Yeah, I've definitely done a few interesting bakes. I guess you could put it that way. Um, but yeah, I've been doing some baking. I've had to finish my third year, so I've had quite a lot of uni work on. I've split my third year into two, so I've still got the remaining half of it next year. But yeah, since I finished third year, I've just been yeah, spending my time baking and relaxing really. So it's not been too bad.
Okay. So how has it affected your training for triathlons being on lockdown?
Yeah, so it's been um tricky. I guess we've tried to kind of put a positive on it from a training perspective with the cycling aspect. So I've always found cycling to be my weakest discipline really out of the three. So we've kind of tried to utilize this extra time to try and improve it, because obviously we haven't been able to swim at all. We've only been able to bike and run. So we've just added a few more hours in on the bike just to really try and yeah, see if I can make any jumps on the bike while we've got the time to do it really.
So have you been able to get out on the bike, or I've seen like a lot of triathletes using like turbos in the houses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so at the very beginning of lockdown, I was still going outside, but then it got to the point where I think we were only allowed to do one form of exercise a day. So I was using that to do my runs. So then, yeah, I was doing all my cycling indoors on a turbo. So we began in the house, but soon my parents got fed up of me and my boyfriend, who's also here, being in the house because I don't think they quite expected us to be spending the amount of time we were inside because they tend to make a bit of a noise sometimes. So yeah, we're now in the shed, which is it's not too bad. We get some Wi-Fi issues, but yeah, I've spent many hours in the shed now, which hasn't been too bad. There's a platform called Zwift that a lot of riders use and triathletes, and that's been really great from a motivational point of view, really, to keep us motivated.
So I've seen a lot of people on social media as well are doing like lockdown challenges on their turbos and doing like insane hours. So have
Yeah.
you been doing any of that?
No, I haven't actually. I do well, to be fair, for me, I have. I've done my longest ride I've ever done has now been on a turbo, which yeah, if you'd asked me that a few months ago, I never ever would have said I'd have spent the amount of time I have. But I think I've only clocked about 5 hours, 22 minutes, I think is the most I've done. Whereas my boyfriend yesterday decided to do the Everest challenge. So he climbed the height of Everest on his turbo and he was on there for 9 hours. And I mean, yeah, fair play. I think it's quite impressive. But yeah, no, I haven't really been that interested in doing any of the mega challenges like that, to be honest.
Yeah, it wouldn't appeal to me at all. So hats off to anyone that
No.
has managed to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So how have you managed to keep yourself motivated with obviously events being postponed or completely cancelled for the year? Have you like given yourself something else to train towards, or how are you keeping motivated?
Yeah, no, it has been quite tricky because I'm definitely an athlete that is quite goal orientated. I get quite, I'm motivated in training for the race that's coming up. And yeah, Luke says, my coach, is I'm outcome focused really. But I think this has been a good time for me to learn to focus on different things. So for me, we've kind of made some smaller goals. So whether that be improving my power on the bike, or what else we've done, we've kind of set to try and do a certain amount of hours every week on the bike. So I'm motivated to try and tick off those hours week by week. And yeah, just I guess focusing on what I can control. I think I've used this time to try. Well, I've knuckled down on my nutrition. I've had more time to do baking and things. I've made sure that before and after sessions I'm getting the right amount of fuel in. But yeah, other than that, it's just been just focusing on day by day really, and not trying to look too far ahead, because as far as racing goes, I've kind of tried not to really think about it, because I think it's quite up in the air at the moment really.
And obviously, people haven't been able to get to the swimming pools because they've been closed, and open water swimming hasn't been allowed either. So how much has that affected you, and how much do you think that's going to affect you moving forwards then when events are allowed to happen again?
Yeah, well, we've been told that as soon as an event is put in the diary that's meant to go ahead, we'll have 6 weeks notice. So I'm pretty sure they wouldn't put on an event without us having been allowed to go in a swimming pool. So I think we'll at least have 6 weeks of swim pool time if there is an event. And it's not too bad knowing that, we're still cycling and running, so we've got a lot of fitness from that. But I think it is quite daunting really to think that I don't know, I'm not that confident in my swimming ability when I haven't been swimming, but we'll see. I guess the issues will arise if I don't know. I like to think we're all in the same boat, but I think it looks like Wales are going in a separate direction sometimes to England and Scotland and Ireland. So I'm not really sure, but I'm just trying to focus on what I can control. And I think we've been told with British Triathlon have said that there's no points that go towards anything this year. So really, it's just kind of a training year really. And if there's any racing, it's a bonus, and it'll be I'll probably use the racing to practice just going through the motions and the processes of doing a race, and it won't necessarily be about the outcome.
And I've also seen that a lot of triathletes have set up like a paddling pool or things like that in their garden, and tethering themselves to get a few well, not even lengths in, but get some swimming in. So we haven't been doing anything like that.
No, I was tempted, but I spoke to my coach about it, and I don't know. I think it's probably, well, he thinks that people are doing it more from kind of a mental point of view, that at least they're kind of getting some form of swimming in. But for my kind of swimming, if you want to call it that, has been just using bands, which I'm meant to be doing 3 times a week, which I try to keep to, but I think in reality I've kind of been shifting the days around on when I'm going to do it, because I tend to put it off a bit because it's not the most enjoyable. But it doesn't take too long, it's not too bad, but it's been more from like shoulder health and kind of keeping the mobility around the shoulders.
Okay. And then obviously you're supposed to be like well into the season now, so how has that affected you mentally, having like all your events that you've been training all winter for being postponed?
Yeah, no, it has been tough, because every now and again I'll go on my calendar on my phone and I'll be like, oh my God, I was meant to be in like Hungary or something. You just kind of forget where you were meant to be and what actually was meant to be happening this year. But it has been tough, because I was hoping to try and get some good results in this year really, because I had glandular fever the year before last. So I only really got back into proper training at the back end of last year. So I had one decent race, and I kind of felt like I was ready to start properly training and racing again by the end of last year. So it's a shame to not be able to kind of put that to good use this year. But obviously there's bigger problems out there. So just kind of focusing towards next year now.
So how important do you think having this year, obviously it's not ideal not being able to race, but it's good in the fact that you can build a base up ready for next season. So how important do you think that'll be for you for next season? How much do you think it'll impact you, your results?
No, definitely. I think that's what my coach and I have really said. We kind of phrase it as almost a blessing in disguise for me personally with regards to my cycling, because it's really given me the opportunity to really improve that. I think usually with racing, training is a lot more disjointed because you've got to taper and recover and then build back up. Whereas now we've been able to just consistently train throughout the summer, which is really unique. It's so yeah, I guess looking at it from that perspective, it's nice to know that I've been able to make some improvements that ordinarily I wouldn't have been able to do.
Yeah, I guess it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed anyway.
You're obviously normally in the National Triathlon Performance Centre training in like a group environment. So how are you finding it now, training more as like a solo, like training on your own? How are you coping with that mentally, doing like longer runs and longer bike rides by yourself?
Yeah, I think, I've definitely had my ups and downs, really. I think, to be honest, I struggle the most on the harder sessions where you really need to get that last bit out, and not having your coach there or, you know, someone else from the squad there to push you makes it really hard to dig deep. And yeah, it's been tough on times like that and long rides where you can't, you know, have a chat with your friends and stuff. But we've tried to make it as normal as possible, where we've done virtual rides with one another and caught up over some calls and things like that. But yeah, no, there has been times where it's been quite tough, but I think I've been lucky in the sense that my boyfriend is also a triathlete, so we've been cycling next to each other and runs together and things like that. But yeah, no, it's not the same as having the whole squad there.
Yeah, I can imagine. So do you have any recommendations for podcasts or playlists to help you get through the long runs and the long bike rides?
Yeah, I've been listening to quite a few podcasts recently. I've started reading the book Raw by Dr. Stacey Sims. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that. I think I'm basing my dissertation on it next year, so I've kind of been using this time to educate myself a bit more. So it's been good. I definitely recommend a podcast by her. It's been really good.
Cool. So do you think when do you think there's going to be like a chance for you to get back to the performance centre at Cardiff Met? Will that be any time this season, or do you think it'll be more back in September?
Yeah, I've really got no idea, to be honest. Yeah, we're just kind of taking it week by week and waiting for more information to come out. I think we've got a meeting next Thursday to discuss you know, the new information that's come out. So I think I'm in the dark at the moment, really.
Okay. And then how do you think the virus is going to affect future events when they're actually allowed to happen? Do you think there's going to be social distancing implemented, and how do you think that'll work with triathlon?
Yeah, I'm really not too sure. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get back to triathlon as normal. I think looking at some other countries at the moment, they seem to be training in groups again. So yeah, I'd really like to think that we'd be able to race as we normally would have. But yeah, I'm just not sure. I think, yeah, obviously the discipline, it's a drafting sport, sorry. So I think it would be really hard to get social distancing in, especially in the open water where it's quite often carnage, especially around that first buoy. There's certainly no 2-meter distancing there. So yeah, I think it would be very hard to implement in triathlon. I'm sure there's ways that you could do it. I'm not sure it would really replicate triathlon that I'm used to or that we train to do. So I think it would be a big shame. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
There's obviously a lot of uncertainty around, but hopefully everything can get back to normal as quick as possible, and you'll be back at the performance centre training. So
yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much for your time today, and I'll catch up with you when we're both back at Cardiff Met.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you so much, Rhiannon.